Welcome to a deep dive, into this dazzling world of movie musicals that have achieved like the highest honor in filmmaking,
Hmm.
the Oscar for Best Picture.
Wow.
We'll be taking a journey through Hollywood history, guided by this Hollywood Reporter article, a fascinating list of all 10 musicals that have won the big prize.
Okay.
So prepare to uncover surprising trends like the dominance of musicals in the 50s and 60s.
Uh-huh.
Hear about record-breaking Oscar sweeps and intriguing behind-the-scenes trivia, and discover why some of your favorite musicals like The Wizard of Oz didn't actually win Best Picture.
Right.
Joining me to add their expertise on film history and awards, we have, well, our expert.
Happy to be here, ready to unpack the magic behind these musical masterpieces.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's set the stage by starting at the very beginning, the 1920s and 30s, the dawn of talking pictures.
Right.
Our first two Best Picture musicals really capture that era of transition to sound and, of course, Hollywood's love for spectacle.
You're right, that shift to sound was monumental. Take the Broadway Melody, the very first musical to win Best Picture in 1929.
Wow.
It wasn't just a musical. It was one of the first talkies ever.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? Audiences were floored by the novelty of synchronized sound, something we take for granted today.
Right.
But what's even more fascinating is that the Broadway Melody was a box office sensation, proving that musicals could be both artistic and commercially viable.
Mm-hmm.
It paved the way for studios to invest heavily in the genre, leading to the musical extravaganzas we associate with Hollywood's golden age.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really shows how one film can impact the entire trajectory of a genre.
Exactly.
And speaking of extravagance, let's move on to our next winner, The Great Ziegfeld from 1936.
This biopic about the legendary Broadway impresario Florenz Ziegfeld Jr. took opulence to a whole new level.
Wow.
Lavish costumes, elaborate sets, show-stopping choreography. It perfectly captured the grandeur of Ziegfeld's Follies productions.
Right.
But beyond the spectacle, the great Ziegfeld actually incorporated original Follies performers, bringing a touch of authenticity to the silver screen. And the Academy took notice, awarding the film with multiple Oscars.
Wow. Talk about blurring the lines between stage and screen.
Exactly.
That's a trend we see reappear throughout the history of movie musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we transition to the 1940s, we encounter a shift in tone with Going My Way, a film that resonated with audiences yearning for something more heartwarming during a turbulent decade.
Going My Way told a simple yet powerful story about a young priest revitalizing a struggling New York parish.
Okay.
Its message of hope and community resonated deeply with audiences, making it a box office phenomenon and a critical darling.
Wow.
It swept the Academy Awards, winning a record-breaking 7 Oscars, including Best Picture.
7 Oscars.
Yes.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
speaking of memorable Oscar moments, I can't resist sharing this little tidbit about Going My Way.
Okay.
One of the stars, Barry Fitzgerald, actually received nominations for both Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor for the same role.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine the confusion?
It certainly caused a stir. The Academy quickly changed their rules afterward to prevent such a scenario from happening again.
Yeah,
A true testament to Fitzgerald's undeniable talent.
absolutely. Now, buckle up because we're about to enter the dazzling era of the 1950s and 60s, a period many consider the golden age of movie musicals.
Right.
And it all kicks off with a film that redefines what a musical can be. An American in Paris, the 1951 Best Picture winner.
An American in Paris was a visual masterpiece that blended the magic of cinema with the artistry of ballet.
Oh, wow.
Gene Kelly, a force of nature in the world of dance, starred and choreographed the film,
Yeah.
earning himself an honorary Oscar for his contributions. And there's one scene that still leaves audiences breathless, a groundbreaking 17-minute ballet sequence set to Gershwin's music.
Wow.
Imagine this, a vibrant tapestry of color, movement, and emotion pushing the boundaries of cinematic storytelling.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. An American in Paris truly set the stage for the spectacle and innovation that would come to define this era. And speaking of setting records, let's talk about Gigi, the 1958 winner. This charming musical about a young woman in Paris training to be a courtesan achieved the unthinkable.
It swept the awards, winning all 9 Oscars. It was nominated for a feat unmatched at the time.
Wow.
Gigi captured the hearts of audiences with its beautiful music, elegant costumes, and charming performances, becoming a true icon of the golden age.
From romantic comedies to thought-provoking dramas, the musicals of this era weren't afraid to tackle complex themes and push boundaries.
Right.
Case in point, West Side Story, the 1961 winner, which took a classic Shakespearean tale and transported it to the streets of New York City.
West Side Story wasn't just a love story. It was a commentary on social divisions, prejudice, and the consequences of hate.
Right.
The film's powerful depiction of rival gangs, the Sharks and the Jets,
Hmm.
resonated deeply with audiences at a time when America was grappling with issues of racial tension and social change.
Mhm.
It's a testament to the film's enduring relevance that Steven Spielberg chose to remake it in 2021,
Wow.
a remake that garnered its own share of Oscar recognition.
It's incredible how West Side Story managed to be both entertaining and thought-provoking, a balance that is difficult to achieve.
Right.
And speaking of enduring classics, let's talk about a musical that likely needs no introduction. My Fair Lady.
Oh, yes.
This 1964 adaptation of the Broadway smash itself, based on George Bernard Shaw's play Pygmalion, became a global phenomenon.
My Fair Lady captured the imagination of audiences with its witty dialogue, iconic songs, and unforgettable performances, especially by Audrey Hepburn as Eliza Doolittle. And let's not forget about those gorgeous costumes. The film was a massive box office success, solidifying the musical's place in popular culture.
You know, I bet many of our listeners have seen a stage production of My Fair Lady, or at least heard those classic songs like I Could Have Danced All Night.
Right.
It's a story that continues to be reinterpreted and enjoyed in so many forms.
Absolutely.
But the Academy didn't stop there in 1964. They also awarded Best Picture to another beloved musical, The Sound of Music.
Ah, yes. The Sound of Music transported us to the Austrian Alps with the heartwarming tale of the Von Trapp family.
Such a classic.
It captured the spirit of hope and resilience in the face of adversity, with its themes of family faith and the power of music. The film's enduring appeal also stems from its connection to a real-life story.
Really?
It was based on a memoir written by Maria von Trapp, the woman who inspired the character we all know and love.
That adds such a fascinating layer to the film. It makes the story even more impactful knowing that these characters and events were rooted in reality. So we've witnessed the triumphs of this golden age of musicals, but what happens next? The landscape of cinema was changing, and so was the role of the movie musical.
You're right. The late 1960s saw a shift in audience tastes with new genres like gritty crime dramas and experimental films gaining popularity.
Mm-hmm.
The traditional studio system that had fueled those big-budget musicals was also undergoing a transformation. But amidst this evolving landscape, one musical stood out in 1968, capturing the Best Picture award, Oliver.
Oliver takes us on a journey through the dark and gritty streets of Victorian London, adapting the classic Charles Dickens novel into a musical format. It's a story that resonates with audiences even today, exploring themes of poverty, social injustice, and the resilience of the human spirit.
What's remarkable about Oliver is how it manages to balance those heavy themes with moments of pure joy and entertainment.
Yeah.
The film is visually stunning, with elaborate sets and costumes that vividly recreate the Dickensian world. And of course, the music is unforgettable, with catchy tunes that linger in your mind long after the credits roll.
From the iconic opening number Food, Glorious Food to the heart-wrenching ballad Where is Love, Oliver offered a musical experience that resonated across generations. But then something interesting happens. There's a significant gap over 3 decades before another musical takes home the Best Picture Oscar. It wasn't until 2002 that Chicago, a film with a very different tone and style, razzle-dazzled its way to the top prize. What do you think contributed to this long pause in musical Best Picture winners?
It's a question film historians still debate. Certainly, audience preferences had continued to evolve, with musicals facing stiff competition from action-packed blockbusters and independent films exploring more realistic themes. But Chicago's success proved that with the right approach, a musical could still capture the zeitgeist and captivate a modern audience.
Chicago definitely embraced a more cynical and satirical tone, reflecting perhaps a certain disillusionment with fame and celebrity culture that was becoming increasingly prevalent in the early 2000s. Its sharp wit, dazzling choreography, and bold performances captivated audiences and critics alike.
It's also worth noting that Chicago embraced a more stylized and self-aware approach to the genre, almost acknowledging the tropes and conventions of musicals while simultaneously playing with them.
Right.
This clever twist on the traditional format might have contributed to its appeal, especially among audiences looking for something fresh and unexpected.
It's fascinating to see how these winning musicals from the early talkies to Chicago reflect not only the evolution of the genre itself, but also the changing tastes and cultural trends of each era. But before we wrap up our debate dive, I want to bring up a few iconic musicals that, while nominated for Best Picture, didn't quite clinch the top prize. Their stories offer a glimpse into the tough competition these films faced and the often subjective nature of awards.
Absolutely. It's intriguing to consider the films that almost made it, the ones that were just a single vote or a twist of fate away from Oscar glory. It reminds us that even in the world of art and entertainment, there's an element of chance and circumstance at play.
For instance, who could forget The Wizard of Oz, that beloved classic from 1939? It transported us to a magical world of technicolor dreams, introduced us to unforgettable characters like Dorothy the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, and left us humming timeless tunes like Over the Rainbow.
The Wizard of Oz was truly groundbreaking, a cinematic marvel that pushed the boundaries of visual effects and storytelling. Yet it faced incredibly stiff competition that year, losing out to another epic film, Gone with the Wind. It was a clash of titans, two cinematic masterpieces vying for the top spot.
Imagine being a member of the Academy that year, having to choose between those two iconic films. It must have been a difficult decision. And speaking of tough choices, Mary Poppins, the practically perfect nanny who enchanted children and adults alike with her magical adventures in 1964, also lost out on the Best Picture award.
Mary Poppins had everything going for it: charming performances, stunning visuals, and unforgettable songs. But it faced a formidable opponent in My Fair Lady, another musical powerhouse that captured the hearts of audiences and critics. It's interesting to note that sometimes, even within a specific genre, there can be only one winner.
And let's not forget about Funny Girl, the 1968 film that showcased the incredible talent of Barbra Streisand. Her portrayal of Fanny Brice, the legendary comedian and singer, earned her an Oscar for Best Actress.
Streisand's performance was nothing short of electrifying, captivating audiences with her powerful vocals and undeniable stage presence. However, Funny Girl was up against Oliver. In the Best Picture race, a film that, as we discussed earlier, had its own unique charm and appeal.
It seems like the Academy had some tough decisions to make during those years, especially with so many strong contenders in the musical genre.
You're right.
But, these near misses just highlight the incredible artistry and impact of these films, even if they didn't walk away with the top prize.
Yeah.
As we reflect on this journey through the history of Oscar-winning musicals, one can't help but wonder about the future of the genre.
Right.
Given the recent success of films like La La Land and A Star is Born, do you think we're witnessing a resurgence of the movie musical?
It's an exciting possibility. La La Land and A Star is Born both captivated audiences with their fresh takes on the musical format.
Yeah.
They demonstrated that contemporary stories blended with compelling music and captivating visuals could still resonate deeply with modern viewers. Perhaps, like those earlier periods of innovation, we're on the cusp of a new era for movie musicals.
What do you think are the key ingredients for a musical to achieve that kind of success today? What makes a musical stand out in a cinematic landscape that's so different from the golden age of Hollywood?
It's a complex equation, but I believe a few essential elements remain constant.
Okay.
A captivating story with relatable characters is crucial. Audiences need to connect with the emotional core of the narrative, regardless of whether it's set in a fantastical world or grounded in everyday reality. And of course, the music must be memorable and move us, whether it's through soaring ballads, infectious dance numbers, or innovative soundscapes that push creative boundaries.
So it's not just about replicating the formulas of the past, but finding new ways to connect with audiences on an emotional level. What kind of stories do you think deserve the Best Picture spotlight today? What themes or perspectives do you believe would resonate with modern viewers and perhaps even challenge our perceptions?
I think we're seeing a greater appreciation for musicals that embrace diversity, exploring stories and perspectives that haven't always been given center stage. Musicals that tackle complex social issues, challenge societal norms, or offer nuanced portrayals of human experiences have a potential to spark important conversations and leave a lasting impact. And I'm particularly excited about the possibilities of musicals that blend genres, experimenting with new musical styles and visual approaches to create truly unique and unforgettable cinematic experiences.
That's a fantastic point. The beauty of the musical genre is its ability to adapt and evolve, reflecting the changing world around us, while still retaining its core essence of storytelling through music and movement. Our deep dive into the history of Oscar-winning musicals has illuminated the incredible journey of this genre, from the pioneers of the early talkies to the groundbreaking films of the Golden Age and beyond. It's clear that these musicals have not only entertained audiences, but also reflected the cultural trends, societal anxieties, and aspirations of their times.
And who knows what the future holds. Perhaps we're on the verge of witnessing a new wave of musical masterpieces fueled by fresh voices, bold visions, and a willingness to push the boundaries of what this genre can achieve.
It's a thrilling prospect. This deep dive has been a testament to the enduring power of music and storytelling. But it also leaves us with a tantalizing question.
Okay.
What will the next generation of musical masterpieces look and sound like? And what stories will they tell? That's something for you, our listener, to ponder. Keep exploring, keep listening, and keep those cinematic dreams alive.